What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. here on the East Coast. That means it's time for Proper Royals Live. If you saw last week's show, you saw the first episode with Alain Hernandez from Creme de la Clutch. I think it's Exotics. Yeah, Creme de la Clutch Exotics on the show. And we really hit it off, and we had a great show, but we didn't get to like half of what we wanted to talk about. And behind the scenes, I was still working out some scheduling, and other people were trying to work out scheduling. So what I ended up doing was just saying, hey, no rush. We'll get those other guests later. And we're going to bring Alain back tonight. It was a great show. We had a great time. The metrics were good. The YouTube clicks, all that good stuff that makes us happy. It makes me happy. I don't know if it makes me happy. It reinforces what I do and keeps me feeding the algorithm. Anyhow, Alain will be back. He's joining me in just a few minutes. He's not on just yet, but he'll be here. I asked him to give me a couple extra minutes. I got a little kind of a personal intro this evening. I'll pull the curtain back a little bit and share a little bit more about myself. I'm a little guarded sometimes, but anyhow, we'll get to that in a minute. I got this. I look at, all the little things that I could do better, and I see that everybody's got a live show has this like contraption of a microphone. I've always had that microphone. It's the same one that's always been there. But apparently it looks cooler if you got the condenser mic, and the more contraptions you have with it, I think the cooler the host is, right? You see the ones that are like guys and girls have the ones that are they'll pull down and they're constantly adjusting and all that. Anyway, I thought I'd have some fun. Maybe some new folks will be like, man, that guy's the business. Look at that microphone. Hey, I hope your week has been good. It's been a hectic week. Apparently the way that I like to keep things around here. Those of y'all that know me know that I don't keep still or sit tight or whatever the expressions are very well. I'm always going. We got new hatchlings. I guess hatchlings by definition are new. I got hatchlings coming on Saturday. I'm excited. It's going to be my first ever visual pied clutch, and they technically I could miss. They could not be visual pied. It better be my second year in. I'm tired of missing on my pied clutches. This female is a leopard het pied, and I bred her to every male that I have that has anything to do with pied. I even borrowed somebody's banana pied and bred her to that. So I've got I got to look. I think I got 7 good eggs in there. All her eggs were good, but I think there's 7 in there off the top of my head. I lose track after a little while. But anyway, so I'm going to cut those Saturday. I'm going to film that Saturday. Sunday, that will go live. That video will go live. I got to give a quick shout out to JL Royals. He's been that's Jordan out in West Bend, Wisconsin. He's been a recent sponsor for me, and I'll be doing some work with him in the future as well. You'll see his logo around. But check out JL Royals. He's got some hatchlings coming up in cool pairings. I also got to give a shout out to Will and Audra at Flawless Exotic Creations. I can't even wait to tell you all about them, but I got to do the promo and the ad space right and all that. But they are one of the newest proud partner sponsors as well up in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Check their stuff out, Flawless Exotic Creations, if you get a chance. So that stuff's coming up. Holy cow, 31 people out of the gate. I'm really, really thankful. Those of y'all that are new to the channel or that I haven't seen, it's hard to keep up with all the comments while I'm running the show. Now I got to manage the microphone in my face. I'm joking about that. Thank you all very much. It's unreal. I remember the joy of hitting 20 viewers at the peak of the show. And now we're here 4 minutes in. I'm not killing time. I really like these intros times that I do, but the guest isn't on. The content really isn't flowing. We really haven't talked much about snakes. And like I say, there's 30 of you. So thank you very much. The likes do help. And if you like the channel, subscribe. I mean, it helps me out. And you're going to get more content that way. So if you are just joining, Alain will be on in just a few minutes. I asked him to give me a couple extra minutes this evening. It's August. August is a weird, what's this intro you're talking about, Adam, right? August is a weird time for me. I say that I'm not superstitious, and then I go through these weird things in my head. So, man, it's hot. We're ready for the boy to go back to school. We need our rhythm. It's hot here in Florida. Everybody's vacationing. They're in and out. Are places open? Are they closed? Are they service or not? I get a little superstitious about August. As a history major, I have a bachelor's degree from the University of Florida in history and secondary education. It's a weird month from a rock and roll standpoint. Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin died in August. Marilyn Monroe, she died in August. Mount Vesuvius covered Pompeii, August. Americans dropped a bomb on the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. That was in August. The first Gulf of Tonkin resolution, that was signed in August. The Iraqis invaded Kuwait in 1990 in August. In 1962 in August, Nelson Mandela was arrested and subsequently sentenced to life in prison for his fight against apartheid. It took 27 years for him to be released from prison. That happened in August. The Berlin Wall was first erected in August. I know, I gotta quit keeping notes on August. I don't think that August is any worse than any other month in most ways. It's certainly not the only one that is subject to tragedy, and we could find all sorts of things in any given month. However, tomorrow marks 12 years that my mother passed from ovarian cancer. And I tell people this for a couple of reasons. One, a lot of people ask for me to share kind of personally who I am. I always keep my channel on ball python content and kind of my family's journey from ball python hobby to ball python business. But a lot of people ask me about some personal things. The other thing is that, my mother, she fought cancer for 9 years. And at some point in that time of my life, that was from when I was 21. She died when I was 30. And in there, I had to explain, really gain this clarity to myself that I wasn't going to let whatever experiences we went through as a family or whatever mother suffered, I wasn't going to let that sort of ruin me. And how I was going to cope with it was I was going to stare it down, and I was going to talk about it whenever chance I could. And if somebody else out there was struggling or suffering, they could find strength. And I found and took so much strength from my mother in her life, and that's her legacy. And if I don't talk about her, her memory goes away. And aside from any religion or what anybody believes about heaven or God forbid hell or whatever, I'm not talking about that stuff. Here and now, how we live on is in each other's memories and how we can gather strength from each other. So I talk about my mother, and I talk about what she means to me and my life. I take from my mother this incredible strength. She was always up for a fight, and I don't mean it in a recreational way. She would have never embraced this word, but to me, she was just a punk rock punk rock woman before her time. She stood for what she felt was right. She never backed down from a conversation. But you know what? She never tried to throw you away from the table. If she disagreed with you, she wanted to talk it through and understand why. It actually drove people nuts. Most people just want to fight, yell, scream, and go away from each other. And she wanted to understand. She wanted to empathize. She wanted to fight for accountability and what she felt was just. Again, aside from any religion or that sort of belief, as an example of her fight, she was exiled or estranged or ostracized from a church that she started in her own living room, Homestead Speedway Church down in Homestead, Florida, because she felt that the migrant community of workers, of farm workers, was who we should reach out to as a church. And the pastor felt those people weren't who the church needed in their pews. And it wasn't until she was in hospice care that pastor came and hat in hand asking for forgiveness from my mother. And as far as I know, to this day, still has buses that go out to the migrant communities to bus that population to their church. So my mother's fight was strong, and I always appreciated her for that. But the real thing of my mother was the joy that she brought. None of us get very long on earth, but then we get down when somebody goes what we feel is early. I read somewhere, this has nothing to do with mom, but I read somewhere that somebody said they knew they had a disease or a terminal illness. And they said, I might not live long, but I'm going to live wide. And when I heard that, I thought it was amazing. I thought that was exactly indicative of what my mother did. She squeezed every bit of life out of every day. Those of you all that say to yourself, man, Adam, you're nuts. You work too much. You do too much. You apply yourself too much. I only got one shot at this thing. I got to get it out while I can. I got to love hard. I got to work hard. I got to chase my passions hard. I like earning money. I want to earn money hard. I know it's a cliche to say, but I'll sleep when I die. And I got a finite number of days on this planet, and I want to bring joy and my own fulfillment. So tonight I raise a little glass to my mother. This is water, but had a little sip of Zinfandel, her favorite red wine. Not particularly my favorite, except it's joyous when I have it because it reminds me of her. So Brenda, Jean, Gallagher, I hold you in my heart. And thank y'all for putting up with my little talk right now. If you wanted a curtain into who I am and how I got to be who I am, look no further than my mother. She would think I'm nuts for this snake journey. I tell you that, but she would tell me to pursue it with all that I've got if it's what I wanted to do. And I think she always had this mischievous side to her. I think there would be a curiosity to her that would go, what in the hell is this thing that Adam pursues with such reckless abandon? And so I know that she's smiling and keeping a watchful eye on me. So anyhow, thank you all very much. August 3rd, tomorrow. Any of y'all that are that have lost others to cancer, my heart goes out to you. If you're struggling with it or anything like that, you can always reach out to me. And I hope that I give you a little strength to maybe share your story with others. It's how your loved ones will always live on. And my mother's lives in my smile and the twinkle in my eye. I promise you that. So, hey, speaking of my mom, Jeremy Bod was kind enough to involve me in a project he has for USARK, and I'm going to play you a clip about it. Alain is signed on. We're going to have him on in just a second. What's up, Alain? But this is so important. And this guitar that Jeremy is giving to USARK is the guitar that I bought kind of as a coping time that summer that my mother was in hospice of 2010 before she passed in August. And this is now the one that's in this video. I'll tell you about the rest of it here in just a moment here. Hey, thanks for the kind comments as well. It's as comfortable as I may seem, that's hard to share that stuff, and it's real hard to keep it together. So thanks for the sweet comments. Cheers, guys. Check out this story that Jeremy Bod's working on for Daytona.
Okay, so what we got here is pretty fucking cool, man. 15 Minutes of Lane Season 1 alumni Jeremy and Jeannie Bod over at Bod's Exotic Reptiles. They went out and they got themselves a guitar. Then they got that guitar signed by the original pioneering big dogs in the reptile hobby. I'm talking guys like Ralph Davis, Kevin McCurley, Brian Barczyk, the Sutherlands, Ty Park, and fucking more. And guess where this thing is headed? To the Daytona 2022 National Reptile Breeders USARK auction. Maybe, just maybe, one of you guys could own a piece of fucking history. The only way to win this guitar is show up at the auction and bid. Help out USARK, own something bad. This is literally the only one of these guitars in the world. Get your down to the Daytona USARK auction on Saturday, August 20th at 8 p.m. at the Daytona Hilton and bid on this guitar, support USARK, and potentially be a part of reptile history.
How cool was that, right? I mean, I love what Jeremy did with that. I've told the long story a whole bunch, but that guitar is that special to me. And I played it on stage for a long time. It has a ton of special memories. I feel like it's got a little extra mojo this year. Let's see what we can get that guitar to go for at USARK at Daytona. It's 2 weeks away, man. I am pumped that's coming up. Speaking of the good things that happen in August is the Daytona show. And as crazy as I am about finding rough things in August, there's so many good things. So, hey, let's get to the show. Thanks for bearing with me tonight. I appreciate it. We got Alain from Creme de la Clutch Exotics down in La Belle, Florida, out in the sticks of Lake Okeechobee. And actually, when Alain comes on, I got to bust his chops. He's got a way of texting me about an hour and a half before the show starts. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But those of y'all that haven't met him before, please welcome back to the stage. Second week in a row. Encore, second set, encore, whatever you want to call it. And man, I said all that, and Alain is gone. Alain is gone. We're gonna have Alain come back in just a moment. I'm gonna read you. These are the legit texts right here. So last week, Alain texts me on his first time on the show. He says, "Hey, this was 6:28." That'd be an hour and 32 minutes before we go live. He says, this is last week. "Hey, Adam, I just bought a webcam. I've been trying to get it to work, but haven't been able to get the video up yet. StreamYard chat is trying to help." Great. Obviously, he was able to make it on the show, and it worked out all right. Then tonight, he goes, "Hey, Adam, how's it going? I may not be able to make it tonight. I have no power at home, and they're saying it'll be out for a few hours. So I have no idea when that will be." That was a little more early plan. That was at 4:37. So I'm not sure what's up with Alain. He was just here, and we're going to let him sign back on. So let's catch up. I got a few things coming up in the near future. Next week is Nicole Tisdale. Lady Tiz is going to be on the show. If you're not familiar with who I'm talking about, check out her channel on YouTube. She does have ball pythons, and she's a very cool member of our ball python community. She also has retics and big ones. I don't think they make retics small, but if they do, that's not what she deals in. And she's going to be on the show. We're going to talk about her big snakes, also her involvement in the community. She's such a positive force, and just a huge personality of a person herself. I'm looking forward. I get to meet her in Daytona in a couple weeks. That's going to be a blast. And then after that, I got to text Alain here. Alain says, "I got kicked out. This is what I'm getting." Yeah. Close. Bear with me, guys. Close your browser and restart Chrome and start over. All right, working through the technical parts with Alain. So Lady Tiz will be on next week on the 16th. That's the Tuesday night before Daytona. And myself and Steven from Leviathan Snakes are going to host kind of a pre-Daytona kickoff show. And we got some other special guests coming up that will be at Daytona. We're going to get some vendors on the show. And that will be the show on the 16th. One thing I want to check with Alain about, I do want to bust his chops a little bit because we got this downtime right here. But in all seriousness, one of the things that I wrote to talk about is that he has Kike from Bosa Balls, runs his Instagram social media. Alain is, I don't think I'm saying anything bad here. He's not as excited about computer technology and that stuff. I was giving him a hard time. He bought the webcam last week, but I'm interested in how that works with a partnership with Kike. If you guys have topics you want to cover as well, let us know, and we will get to them. All right, let's do this one more time. Welcome back to the Proper Royal stage. This is Alain from Creme de la Clutch Exotics. What's up, Alain?
Hey, Adam, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I was doing nothing but telling everybody of the challenges that you always worry me with your texts before you come on the show, man.
Yeah, I was on just now. No, and the problem is that I can't even access the internet on my desktop right now. I have to see why my internet's not connecting after the power outage. But
I got you.
Yeah, we'll get to that later, I guess.
You got
but
storms and stuff? Are they just doing maintenance, or do you know?
It was storming a little bit, but then they FPL did a phone call and they said, "Hey, don't expect to have power back until at least 7:30." And but then it came back a lot sooner than that, so that's good.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, hey, I appreciate it. Welcome you back. Forget all the bumps in the road. We're here now, and I appreciate having you, man. How's your week been?
Yes, sir. Same here, man. No, just good. Getting ready. I'm leaving this weekend for a few days over to Puerto Rico for my cousin's wedding, and just getting all the animals situated and things like that. And then also going to Daytona. So making sure that, kind of like spacing out the feedings and all that, so I don't have any animals pooping in Daytona or making a huge mess while I'm on vacation. So
yeah, what are some other prep? Let's talk about that, because that's like some behind. I mean, I know it's like a little bit graphic. I don't mean just the snake pooping, but like we don't think about that. You got how many snakes you taking up to Daytona?
Well, right now I'll probably be taking up maybe about 30 to 40 snakes. Okay. I'll probably display around like 24, but I'll probably take up about 30 to 40. There's going to be a few that I'll probably wholesale like right off the bat, like maybe a few normals and some lower end stuff, and then I'll just display either animals that aren't for sale that I'm just bringing to show off a little bit, and then some other like nicer stuff that I can because I only get one table. I have 2 display cases, and I don't have a lot of real estate to display them, so I have to be a little bit choosy right now about
So and then so on those 40 snakes, what do you do to prepare? So you're going to space out the feeding, because like I say, I don't think about it as a consumer, but you don't want to be cleaning poo out of the display case, and then you got poo smeared on the side of it and all that kind of stuff. What kind of other preparations you do along as well as the feeding regimen?
What I'll do is I'll calculate it so the last time I feed them is maybe 7 or 8 days before the actual trip, so that by the time Thursday or Friday comes, they're already pooped and ready to go. And I try to make it so that, I mean, the shedding is hard to kind of control when they're going to be shedding. So
you can't. Not much to do about that.
That part you can't do much about. But yeah, if you get 2 or 3 snakes that poop in your display case over the weekend, man, it's horrible, because then you have to sit there and you have to clean the substrate. Like I use these like plastic rocks that I have spray painted, so you have to take them out, clean all the plastic, the bin. I mean, it's nasty, and it takes a while to do it, and it's better just to, because I don't want to starve them for 2 or 3 weeks either, but I'll try to give them the last meal, so that by the time they go to the show and someone takes them home, it's already going to be 7-8 days since their last meal. They're more likely to also eat, because I can take them nice and chunky on the trip, but then people will get them, they might regurge if they haven't digested their meal properly, and you don't want that to happen either.
Yeah. When I was, you've probably seen it, but it was interesting to me, and maybe to the audience, I don't know. When I was there in the Tampa Repticon, Dale and Steve Casino from Steve's Morphs, and Dale from Constricted Reptiles, they keep little shop vacs, man, and they just suck up the poo, and they suck up the soiled substrate, and then do a little quick spot clean. I was like, what is that? And they're like, that's just a bucket of poo, man.
Oh, that's cool. I actually haven't seen them do that before. That's cool.
Yeah, they use the little square paper white substrate that really pops under the pictures, and the LED lights. And yeah, they just suck that up with just a little shop vac, just and then if it happened to hit the wall or whatever, you got to wipe it real quick, But what about things like it's this hot topic right now, and I don't want to add to. I think it's probably a little over dramatic myself, but I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. But what about the whole concerns with this, like biosecurity, illnesses, stress to the animals? What do you go through with that, or what do you think about for that as a vendor?
It's something that lately It's been a little bit of a concern just seeing that if what I believe is that maybe there are strains of Nido that might be more dormant than others. There might be maybe like a handful of different ones, almost like a coronavirus, or maybe some are more deadlier than others. And if they're mixed together with whatever you have, they might just have a bad reaction with the animals you have. So I have been thinking about it, which is another reason why I stopped vending at the Repticons and just only going to the Daytona NRBE. And then I'm thinking about hopefully if I can go to Chicago, but it's kind of a drive to take all those animals, and I'm just kind of worried about doing a trip like that to Chicago for a show, but with animals.
I'll be your roadie. Let's road trip it together, man.
Oh, if you want to do it, let's go, man.
I swear to God, I would come. I don't pay. I mean, maybe cover some expenses, but don't pay me. But I'll go to Chicago with you. And work.
All right,
yeah, I'll work it if you want, man.
All right, we'll figure it out. Yeah, that sounds good.
We can talk about that another time. Yeah, I definitely, absolutely, I'll come work and do it, man.
And you'll have fun, man. Because to me, it's not even that much work. It's just you just have a good time talking to people, showing them snakes. And yeah, you got to be on your feet a little while. But the good thing is that, I mean, believe it or not, man, like I'll go there the whole weekend, and I'll just be. I mean, I'll leave tired because I'll set up by myself. I'm usually there. Sometimes I'll have someone that'll come and help me out. But it's not really like I don't have anybody there with me just grinding it the whole time. It's just basically me and my one table. I don't have the need to have 2 or 3 people there because it's just one table. But I would like to have somebody there so that we could take turns like walking around, talking to people, and not having to worry about ignoring people that come by the table to talk, because you're only one person. And I've noticed that there's tons of people that just walk by while I'm talking to one person. And they'll wait for a few minutes, but then they'll just end up leaving because they don't want to.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
You can't engage them. Yeah. No, it'd be fun to do. I talked to George Emde about the same thing. I don't think he believed me. I was like, yeah, I'll go. Whatever. I'll sleep in a van. I don't care. I've gone on rock and roll tours, man. I can handle the road and discomfort. But no, that'd be a blast to do. So
Sounds
the animals that you bring to Daytona. Do you do Daytona more for the exposure, or do you do it for the revenue, or both?
I'll be honest with you. I do it just mostly for the exposure. If I can get just my expenses out of it and sell a few animals and just pay for my hotel, pay for my table, I'm happy with that. I go mostly to talk to people that I maybe haven't seen since the last Daytona, that I just talked to online, and since I live in a very rural area, there's nobody that lives in LaBelle, part of the community, so everybody lives maybe in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, Tampa, Orlando, up north, even other states, and so it's almost like a weekend congregation where everybody just gets together.
Most
and
definitely.
you kind of fill in all that time that you don't get to talk to people in person into one weekend, and even just a 10 or 15 minute conversation with somebody, you remember it, and it goes a long way. And you talk with maybe a couple dozen people over the weekend, and have a few beers one night. You'll talk to 5 or 6 people, and then they'll always remember, hey, I remember that conversation I had with this guy in Daytona, and I'd like to have an animal from him, or maybe talk to him in the future about some ideas of some projects, and just meeting cool people that you don't even talk about snakes, talk about all kinds of other stuff.
That's true. So, I mean, and you never know really where you make the connection with somebody that anyway, I think that's cool. I get so caught up in dollars and cents. I forget those kinds of things. Like there was somebody else was telling me, I was talking with Will and Audra from Flawless Exotic Creations. And they're like, no, shows are a total expense line. We'll take animals and we're happy to get the revenue, but the way that they budget and plan is that it's a total expense for building community, meeting people, getting social followers, building a customer base, Patreon, all that kind of thing. And I was like, that's a lot of money. But on the other hand, advertising is a lot of money, and it's a lot of work. You either spend the money, do the work, or do both. It takes all of that.
Yeah, you basically have to look at it as like an advertising campaign, like a little marketing campaign for the weekend. You're like, hey, instead of spending $1,000 on Facebook ads or
Right.
something else. You say, I'm going to spend $1,000, going for a weekend. And if you budget yourself, you won't really spend that much money. Like, Daytona, the table in Daytona is $300 a piece. If you go to like a Repticon, they're $95.
Right.
So a Repticon's a lot cheaper. You're going to get probably more exposure at a Daytona. It's going to be a nicer show. There's going to be more going on. But even if you just, go for, and if you wanted to go on like on a Saturday morning setup, that's kind of a drag. Like I like going on a Friday, spending the night, like in Tampa or Orlando, then setting up Saturday morning, or even that Friday afternoon. Probably preferably set up Friday afternoon. Exactly. But you could go on a Saturday morning if you wanted to just pay for one hotel. One night of a hotel instead of 2 nights. You could really budget it and not spend a whole lot of money and actually get something out of it. And just maybe sell a couple animals and you paid for your weekend, but you're able to rub a few elbows with some people and see some stuff in person. And I think it makes a big difference when people see your face and they see you in like a YouTube channel. Like a lot of people know you now,
right?
Because you have a YouTube channel. If you didn't have a YouTube channel, you would fall in such a not a bad category, but you'd fall into the mass population that doesn't do YouTube. So because you do YouTube, you fall into like this percentage of people that a lot of people know who you are, even though you haven't been breeding for a long time.
Yeah. And that was the whole, what you just said was the whole mission of really why I started it. Not the whole thing. Part of it was that I wanted my own sort of documentation and diary almost. And I wanted to learn, man, it drives me nuts. Some of my clients that I consult with spend so much on print marketing. I'm like, why are you putting anything in print? You don't stop it. Yeah. And so this is like a proof of concept where I could tell somebody, I could sell ball pythons on the internet. I bet I could sell your wedding space too. You know what I mean? Like it's so much easier to sell anything other than ball pythons on the internet. But yeah, that is why I started. And it's fun. It's even if I had, hey, John, thank you, man. Have a good night at work, brother. I appreciate you stopping by. It's such a fun community. There's this electricity at Daytona. They do a few things that are just really kind of old school and antiquated, but it's kind of funny. So you can't buy a ticket ahead of time for Daytona. I don't know if the audience knows this. I know that you know this, but so, at a Repticon, you might have, I don't know, 20, 30 people lined up outside. Daytona, man, you got 500, 600, 800 people lined up. It's around the building. It's around the Ocean Center there at Daytona. And it's just this electricity as people are coming in. And then you get in and it's almost overwhelmingly massive. It is huge, especially if you're used to the scope of like Tampa Repticon was a pretty big one, but I'd only been to, other than the Daytona show, I'd only been to the Jacksonville Repticon. I went to a few up in Spartanburg and Asheville, North Carolina, Spartanburg, South Carolina, where you might only have, I don't know, 30 vendors maybe. And then how many are at Daytona this year? Something like 600 tables or something ridiculous?
Man, I think it's like over 900 tables and like 200 and something vendors. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just massive. And like you said, man, it's a great time to see all the people in person and talk with them. Jesse Music's in the audience tonight, but we did a show together several months ago and we didn't really keep up after, no problem. I mean, we follow each other on Instagram or whatever, but there he was. He popped up in Tampa. I'm like, Jesse, what's going on? And then I know Byron was in the audience earlier. I met him in Tampa, but you just meet people and you're like, oh, that's that person. So anyhow, if anybody's there, feel free to say, hey, I definitely want to hang out. I'm going to be checking out snakes and filming content, but I'm not tied to a vendor table. So it'll be really a cool time. I'm definitely going to go. I've heard the auction is just absolute bonkers fun as well too. I've been to the Tampa USARK auction, but never the Daytona USARK auction.
Yeah, it's funny. We could just go over to what is this place called? I always forget the name. Sloppy Joe's, I think it's called, and then get a few drinks there, head back to the auction, and just have a good time. And just start bidding and stuff. And last year I missed it, man. I had such a bad headache after the after the reptile show that I took a nap and I didn't wake up until the next day. So I had to basically.
Oh no, man!
Yeah, I was out, man. I was out cold.
Ah, man.
I
No, I'm
missed
looking
it.
forward to it. It'll be. Here's my problem is that I'll try and pack too much in, man. It'll be 4 a.m. I'm like, what am I doing? And then my Sunday's ruined. Like, I got to make sure I don't ruin the Sunday. You know what I mean? So I got to be careful about that. But those of y'all watching, we're on the 16th, 2 weeks from tonight. We'll finalize some plans of where to hang out. Everybody's welcome to go and to come hang out, have some drinks and snacks or wherever we end up. I don't know where, but we're going to end up somewhere that has some beverages and food. And then, of course, the auction will be a blast to go to. Hey, yeah. I forgot to switch gears real quick. I forgot all about this starting off on my notes. We got to give a little update on, speaking of USARK and their auctions, it looks like we got the Lacey Act problems out of the way, man. Did you see that update that came out this week?
Yeah, that they updated the bill that we're going to pass and they took the amendments out. Yeah, that's a big win. That's awesome. That's huge.
Those of y'all that haven't seen it, I mean, look, the last thing any of us need are lectures, but I get really down when I hear people going, well, you know, what difference can I make? Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I'll just go underground. That's not the way. It's not good that way. It's not good for all of us, especially when we own businesses. Here's the update from, and I'm reading on a different window. So sorry if I look like I'm not, if I have a weird look where I'm reading this on my face, but it says this came out July 28th. That was last Thursday. No, that was last Thursday. Yeah, that's correct. It says to be brief, the CHIPS Plus bill. I guess that was sort of the negotiated update to the previous America Competes Act. Passed in the Senate and passed the House on July 28th. The bill includes some of the technology initiatives and that was in the America Competes Act, USARK, and other bills. The portion of the Competes Act that were not germane to the intent of the bill, including the bad Lacey Act amendments, were not added to the CHIPS Plus package. And then here's the sentence. Well, this is the big payoff. This should be the end of any threat from these Lacey Act amendments for this congressional session. Man, I am pumped about that, man. That's fantastic. We got our own problems here in Florida, but at least we got 49 other states maybe we can run to if we have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a big win, and hopefully Florida, sees that and kind of just. I mean, I understand about some of the invasive species stuff, and but these guys, I mean, they're out of control, especially this. That one, I don't even know the guy's name. I don't know if he's a commissioner or what, but he was just basically saying like it's me against. He basically was almost making it like a personal thing that it was his decision. He wasn't even thinking about putting things up for vote. He just wanted to just make a decision.
The quote was, "As chair of this committee, I'm a vote of one." The ego on this guy. Forget whether it's about animals, about anything we agree with or disagree with. That's not how America's supposed to work. And here he is just flaunting it. And the guy's not even elected. He's an appointed employee, and he's deciding this stuff. That's those of y'all in the audience. That's the guy that heads up the FWC, Florida Wildlife Commission. There's a board on basically there's a board on going after reptiles. And that's his outlook. His outlook is, I'm the man. I'm the chair of the board. Everything is advisory until I say so, and then whatever I say goes. There's no vote. This person is just appointed by I guess the governor, but I don't know who he's appointed by. That's how the behavior is in Florida. That's what we're up against in Florida. But
yeah, that guy's way out of line.
Yeah, the stuff that USARK is doing is fantastic. The beauty of, I gotta say, man, the beauty of what USARK is doing is they see the unconstitutionality of these things. They're great lawyers, and as great as the auctions are, they just need money. They need our support, and the support. One monster bidder that's bidding $7,000 on a guitar on Saturday night. That's amazing. It's fantastic. But the 50 of us in this room that could give, $100 or $120 out of our annual revenue of snakes, overcomes that. And that's just one little channel. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the power is in the numbers. It's in your elected officials. It's in the ballot box. And I know it can feel overwhelming, but fighting the good fight for the right reason is always the right thing to do, in my opinion. So there's enough for my lecture. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for everybody for supporting USARK. I'm pumped that they got that done. And you're right. Who was Intrepid? You kind of nailed it. By the way, Pope County Pythons, thank you very much, guys. If you don't know, any super chats or stickers go directly to feeding ball pythons. I don't raise rats. I don't want to raise rats. I want to make content. And if you want to contribute, that's what that's part of what I fund my operation with. Intrepid says, yeah, the Lacey stuff was so buried, we would likely have never even known about it if Phil wasn't coming through it. Phil is, somebody help me out with his last name, but Phil is the guy that oversees and runs USARK. He's an animal. His attention to detail is incredible. And I've been trying to get him on the show, but he's a busy man. And honestly, I'd rather him working on USARK than coming on the show. Phil Goss, yeah, thank you very much. Phil Goss is his name. That act was it was called America Competes Act, and it was an economic package to combat China, as a matter of fact. And I'm not here to I don't want to go down the pipeline of who's evil and who's not. That's not my point. The point of the act, though, was to economically combat China's economic efforts. And in that, what in the world does interstate commerce of ball pythons in America have to do with fighting China's economic impact? And it was somebody's pet project that got the language in there. And I believe our voices and people concerned about our votes made it. So there. Enough of that. I appreciate it. Alan, we got some topics we didn't even get to last week that have been on the thumbnail twice in a row now. We gotta honor this, right?
I want to ask you a question before you get started, man. Not to take too much time away from the list we have. But I was wondering, have you ever thought about opening up your own restaurant in all the years that you've been in the restaurant business? And if you did, what kind of restaurant would it be?
Yeah, thanks for that. I did. I never did it. It's one of those things, once you know too much, like once you know about it, it's almost not a good idea. This is horrible to say for my business because I'm a restaurant business consultant. In restaurants, if you're really, really good, 12 to 15% is about all you can ever hope to truthfully net on your bottom line. And so to make really good money on the work that it takes to own a restaurant, you got to be doing $3 to $4 million a year. At 10%, that gets you 300 to 400,000 net, which is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't take that for granted, but the work that would go into running a $3 to $4 million a year restaurant, I never wanted to do it with my own money. And I always thought it was too fragile. We saw it in COVID, man. In that way, I hate to say it, I always used other people's money. I worked for corporations and ran their restaurants for them. So I never did. If I did, I do have visions. There's a few guys in the industry that I would love to partner with. The concept I would have to do would be owner operations. So I'd partner with 2 chefs and I'd partner with another front of the house guy. We'd be a 4-person staff or maybe a 6 or an 8-person staff, but a small operation. And we do really great kind of bistro quality, all fresh, no freezers, ideally, maybe a small freezer, but no freezers. Great wine list, hopefully a great location and really creative, a new menu each week kind of thing, or new menu seasonally, depending on what we could get in. And ideally all open. I think I know open kitchens kind of became hip. Like Carrabba's started building all their restaurants with open kitchens. And that's just mayhem when you got like 12 or 15 people cooking on a line. But when you could really interact with a chef talking to you while a chef is cooking, like maybe only 800 or 1,000 square foot restaurant where you could have drinks with the chef while they're preparing your appetizer, because there could be a bar at I would want it to be that intimate where you could see it wasn't just words on a menu and then poof, suddenly magic appeared in front of you. I think the similar to what the stuff we talk about, like, oh, what are you going to do for when they poo and they're on display? Like, nobody, I don't know. Like, you don't advertise that, but everybody's a little bit intrigued. Like, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, how does the chef make this or that, or what is it? What goes into making this dish, or why is he doing that or she doing that? Anyhow, I would
like something very involved where it's like an experience.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
A real personal experience where we interact with you. And I think that there's a way to make it that way. That margins can go a little bit higher that way. You invest more of kind of the energy and the experience, but your cost of goods are much lower. Overhead lower with only a 800 or 1,000 square foot restaurant. And then low labor costs. Do it owner operated. Got to put the sweat equity in and be the owner yourself, kind of thing. So that's what I would do. I actually think I have a meeting on Thursday to embark on a local project here that could be really, really cool. We get to take an old tired golf club and renovate it as an open to the public, big pub, casual, like excellent casual, like all handmade, fresh, but still casual. Pizzas, burgers, from scratch, salads and wings and fresh fish from the coast. So I meet on Thursday. I might be starting a whole different project in the industry. I'm kind of giddy right now. I'm trying to not let myself get too far ahead, but I'm excited to. I love the take. I don't love the takeover as far as like somebody else failed and now I'm gonna prey on them. That's not what I mean. I love the new opportunities when we go, all right, we got a clean slate. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna do it? What's our budget? What's our vision? When's the deadline? And let's go. Like I love it. I'd start tonight if they gave me the anyway. If we work out the deal, man, I'm excited to jump in on that real soon.
Well, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's what's coming up. So Rob M says Adam's starting a high class Hooters. No, my Hooters days are over, man. We'll leave that there. I love wings and I love good service, but I'm not sure that Hooters encompasses either of those things. But they are doing something right, and they have their own their own icon and their own brand, and they've done it right. They're the people. So that's me. I respect them for that. Let's talk about this. And I really, really feel bad. Somebody commented last week they were watching the show just for this topic, and we never got to it. What do you think about the sort of the tags of the bad genes? I see you work with Spider, you work with Champagne. And I'm not questioning that you should or shouldn't, but why do you? And from a dollars and cents, I think you're getting. Is it true? Are you getting less pennies on your dollar for those animals? What talk us through that? Tell us about those genes, man.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's hard to get rid of Spider. I mean, I personally love Champagne.
Yeah,
but man, it's hard to get. I mean, that's the thing. Like every holdback I make will somehow have Spider in it somehow. So then I keep trying to maybe hold back. And I mean, I do have some holdbacks, like in my clown, like my gravel clown projects and some other stuff that don't have any spiders. So I have very few spiders in my clown stuff, but it's hard. It's hard to get Spider out of there because you're never going to breed a Spider combo to something and not make 60, 70, 80% spiders in your clutch.
That's right.
It's just for some reason that gene is just so strong. I mean, it's gonna dominate most of the time, at least in my experience. 8 eggs, 5 or 6 are Spider. 4 eggs, 2 or 3 are Spider. It's never like 7 eggs and 1 Spider.
You're always on the other end of the odds. We never get those odds on the double het to double het, but
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of my Spider stuff, I mean, for some, it varies for sure, but a lot of the Spider stuff that I've created doesn't seem to have much of a wobble. The ones that do have a wobble, in the beginning, I did have a few that were born that maybe had some pretty bad corkscrewing and stuff like that. But lately, if I have the Spiders that come out are perfectly 100% fine. I think neurologically, each spider has some kind of issue. Even it might be 1%, but it's still there, even though it's not noticeable. But I'll be honest with you, everything that I've made in the last couple of years with spider in it, it's no wobble that you can actually tell. They all feed really well. They all look well. They're not stargazing or looking around or anything like that. Champagne, I personally really like what Champagne does in a lot of combos.
I do too. I think, man, you could get that pied look just amazing. And like, I know as breeders, that's a different value than visual, but as a snake owner and collector, man, those are gorgeous animals.
Yeah, like imagine a Champagne het pied as a pet is not really, it's not a very expensive animal. It's maybe what, at the most, you're not even going to pay $200 for a snake like that, maybe $150 to $200 on the higher end, $200, and it's going to be a gorgeous animal. It's going to be brown and tan with that white pied look to it. It's going to be great. So I've noticed, okay, I'm not going to put it into pied, but you can put it into clown, into hypo, into DG, and it just makes a different colored, like a completely different palette. It gives you almost like a tan background to work with.
That bronze color to it almost.
Yeah, exactly. And then you could add a Enchi, leopard, blackhead, yellow belly, all those genes amp it up. Like I remember the first time I made a pastel Enchi leopard Champagne, and that thing was gorgeous. It had purples, yellows, browns. It had pattern. It had a little bit of paradox on it.
Yeah.
So I mean that animal's great. And a lot of people will argue that blackhead, like super blackheads, have issues. I haven't noticed that, but you just have to kind of know. In my opinion, when I talk to people about that, you just have to kind of be smart about it and not make like super black pastel combos, because they're all going to be dark. You're not going to get a lot of pattern out of them. They could be kinked. They could have issues. So if you want to make like a panda pie, make like a blackhead, black pastel leopard pie. That's going to be basically solid black and white, and you're going to have a little bit more black.
Workaround, you know?
Yeah, something different.
Yeah.
So, but spider definitely brings the price of your animals down quite a bit, and then some people won't even buy them if they have spider in it, even if you give it to them at a better price. So
I stay away from them, but that's more of a business decision rather than a critical or condemning decision. I'm not against people having them. In your opinion, you said that the ones that you've been producing lately have either very minimal or no visual wobble. And as you said, I think it's sort of settled that all of them have something, but it could be a tiny percentage versus a higher percentage of issues. In your own opinion, do you think that selective breeding helps that? Do you think the ones with the worst wobble produce ones with worse wobble, or do you think it's just totally random of what you get and can be from husbandry, stress, or all of it together? What's your thought on that?
If I had to make a decision on that, I would probably say that it's pretty random, because my original Bumblebee gravel male had a decent, or he's still alive, but he's just with somebody else right now. He has a pretty decent wobble, and I wouldn't say corkscrewing, but it's definitely like a nice decent wobble on him.
Mm-hmm.
His son doesn't, but then there has been maybe like 2 years ago, he produced an animal that was pretty bad corkscrewing and stuff like that. But then other animals with the same exact father and mother have produced last year, and they didn't have any issues. So I mean, I will be honest. I mean, maybe it could be possible that you could almost just like line breed it out, but with my experience, it's just random. I think I've just had good luck to just not have any severe wobbles in any of the spiders recently.
I gotta think over the past. I mean, how long have spiders been around now that we know of? What, 20? I mean, in the hobby, they've been around forever. But I mean, in the hobby, 18, 20 years.
Yeah, probably at least 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if we could selectively eliminate the worst, we probably would already have separate lines or lines named of what like Ozzy did with his Orange Dream kind of thing. It's still Orange Dream, but he's selectively bred the the intense ones. But I gotta be with you that it probably just must be there and must just be random, the roll of the dice of what you get on it.
It could be, or I'm sure there's probably different lines of spider, because now I don't know if you've seen the new Bolt. I don't know. People make fun of it. They say that it's a spider. It's just like a wild caught spider, or maybe somebody is just renaming a spider. But I think it's somebody in Europe that might have it.
Yeah,
and they're calling it the Bolt gene, and it's a pretty looking snake, but it looks just like a spider. And the guy says it doesn't have any wobble, so it could be something. Or there could just be other lines.
Like, as much as I hate to say it, we got to breed one of those males to a female spider. We'll know real quick if it's spider or not.
And we'll see, if it makes them lethal, something lethal.
Yeah, like I said, as much as I hate to say that. Yeah, look at the audience. They're all going, that's spider.
Yeah.
Hey, I haven't seen 864 Quality Exotics. Thanks for joining. I haven't seen you in before. I try and say hello to all the new names I see. I appreciate you checking it out. Same with Jay Quintana. I'm not sure if I've seen you in before either. Also, anybody checking out the show from Alain's Instagram or from Kike's Instagrams, thanks for coming. Appreciate having you. I hope you want to stick around and maybe come back in the future. I'd appreciate it. So what other like, quote, bad genes you work with? I saw Spider and Champagne. Any others that have the downer remarks next to them?
I mean, honestly, I don't believe so. What other ones would there be that people kind of?
It's more just the combinations after those two, right?
Yes, I know Spider, Champagne. Oh, I have some Hidden Gene Woma stuff. I know some people maybe think that Hidden Gene Woma is also lethal when you mix it with I think Champagne. It's lethal, and a few other genes that it might not be compatible with. But and some people don't like Spot Nose either. I mean, I think Spot Nose is amazing.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Talk to me about that, because I was kind of caught off guard, because I hear everybody with the Justin's whole Batman thing, everybody's nuts about Spot Nose. But then somebody said that it's in the same complex as Spider, and that they have wobbles too.
Yeah, people say that the Super Spot Nose has a lot of wobbling. I mean, I've seen some. I mean, I've seen a couple years ago that has some wobble, but recently I saw a couple online and they seemed perfectly fine. The people were guaranteeing that they were healthy and no wobble. They're just not very popular, but I think it's more because maybe the first few of them weren't extremely healthy. Maybe they did have a bit of a wobble, but then after a while, I think that the more they're made, just nature itself just ends up making them a little bit less, I guess, less lethal or less delicate in that sense. So they end up becoming a little bit more viable. Maybe not all the genes, but maybe some of them. Like maybe the first time an albino was ever hatched out, it maybe wasn't very viable. As soon as a few more start hatching out, it almost just becomes, I guess, I don't know, maybe just they evolve to just be able to function properly, I think.
Or the old natural selection. Maybe they were a weak example that wasn't going to do well anyhow, and it just happened to be that's when that hatched. And then, of course, we keep and we breed the best eaters and the best growers and the best looking ones that we like. So, I thought it was. I don't want to. I like Justin a lot, so I'm certainly not picking on Justin. I also don't want to start a whole riot. I have no basis for this, but it was kind of funny from the outrage that you can find about Spider, and then Spot Nose is the hottest thing on the market for 2 years running kind of deal for what everybody wants to work it into. Now they're not the same. It's an imperfect analogy. I think Spider's far worse off than Spot Nose is, and it sounds like from the comments people were saying maybe just the supers, not the single genes.
Yeah, the Super Spot Nose is the one that might have the issue.
Gotcha.
But Spot Nose works so well with Clown that I mean, in my opinion, I think it's overtaken Leopard and Clown for sure. I mean, you could do a lot if you notice all these really crazy, high contrasted animals are, Spot Nose, what is it? Spot Nose Hurricane, Yellow Belly Clown, and Spot Nose Black Pastel. yellow belly clowns. You don't see leopard in a lot of these combos. I think leopard reduces them a little bit, and you're not going to get that same. You're not going to get those alien heads and that crazy red flaming on the sides if you have a leopard. So
right.
I think that spot nose is almost like that must-have gene next to clown more than leopard is now. I think red stripe is in there too. A red stripe is pretty much like a must-have, in my opinion, in almost any clown combo. The spot nose is also lace and special. I think now even two doses of lace. I'm not sure about 2 doses of special because you get like a coral colored animal.
Yeah.
Oh, believe I have a super special male, and he's like yellow and coral. He's like he's a beautiful snake, but he's not a white snake at all. He's even though they're in the blue-eyed Lucy complex and they make white snakes with other snakes, the super special itself is like an orange. Like it's almost like it's pretty crazy looking. He's a really different looking snake.
Do other genes break through that like a leopard will on an ivory?
Like on a super special. The thing is, I don't think a lot of super special combos have been done yet. So
okay, so it's
I don't think
experiment, huh?
Oh yeah, I think it's open game on super special like that. They're basically like imagine like a yellow background with almost like an orange pattern all over it. So like my boy is like all yellow with like. He almost looks. I mean, he's pretty crazy looking. He's like yellow and orange all over it. It's just a weird looking animal. And I got mine from George Emde. George Emde has made a few of them, and it's just a gorgeous animal. So I put him to make some hats. So I think special is one of those that Justin's also working with. I think that he just hasn't really announced like a big, like, oh, here's what special does, like he did with lace. As soon as he does that, like he did with lace, it's game over.
You know he's got to sit on his stashes until he's just got something just crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, how great is George's stuff, man? Guys in the audience, if y'all don't know who George Emde is how he spells his last name. He keeps kind of a low profile. He won't come on the show, and even in person, he's always about me filming his animals, but he never wants to be on the camera, and he's just a grinder at the show. Man, he works hard, but he's got killer stuff. Like, you got to go see his booth. If he's at a show, go to his booth, man. He's good. And he's a really, really good dude too.
No, he's a really good dude. And I tell him, in my opinion, his display is the most eye catching and most appealing because it's just all white. And he has the red and blue logo, and it's just
and it's nice and curved. Yeah, it's like it's nice arch on him. Yeah.
Yeah, I love his display. I mean, the reason I got mine is just because they're easy to carry around. I'm usually go by myself, so I can load up all the snakes. It has heat in there because I got the what do they call, the next level displays? Just the ones that Jeremy Bott has. Jeremy has the same ones, and they're just easy. I just put the snakes in there. I pack them up. I take them, put them on the table, pop them up, and they're good. But if I really had multiple tables and I got to I just really don't ever plan to get to a point where I have more than 2 tables at a show.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's just not something that I really, I don't think it's necessary anymore. Like, if you're making nice stuff, you could just sell on Morph Market or sell online to your existing customers and your social media following. And the shows are more for networking. So, you do like those 4 tables. I mean, you could take some nice stuff because the thing is that I would say that a lot of my animals are more project animals. I'm not at the point yet where I'm selling where most of my animals that I take to the show are like George takes a lot of like lavender albino pieds. Like, he takes a bunch of animals that are beautiful, but he could sell for a good amount of cash, and they do sell there.
Yeah.
But then I'll take for example, like a gravel head clown combo, and people just aren't there for stuff like that. It's just like for less, not to say it's an ugly snake, but you compare it to like a lavender albino pied, and it's nothing. Right. You can't. You really can't. And then someone will go there to buy a snake because they want like something that's visually stunning,
right?
And they're gonna buy that. They're gonna buy that one all day. So then mine are more in case someone's looking for like that very specific, like Enchi gravel, head clown, whatever else. Yeah, like I'll have stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, visually like wow, showstopper stuff, like some champagne stuff that I'll make is like that, and maybe like my pastel highways, but they never make it to the shows. They always sell before I ever,
then, yeah.
Yeah. So every time I go to the show, it's like, yeah, I had some other nice stuff, but it just sold too fast, which is good.
It's already sold. And I was working with so Dale and George buy their tables together, I think. And I think Jeremy can correct me. I think George does 2 tables and Dale does, maybe they only buy 6 tables. I think it was 8. I don't know, man. Either 6 or 8 tables. So Dale's working either 4 or 6 tables. He's got his dry goods behind him. He's got snakes in front of him. Man, yeah, he had somebody that was like, how many feet of heat tape do you have? He's like, I don't know, a lot. And the guy was like, measure it. I'll take the call. So Dale's got just piles of heat tape. And he's like, can you keep an eye on the snakes? I'm like, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Man. But Dale works it, man. He's a good dude. But loading in and out was no joke. Seeing, for 2 of us, it was no joke. But seeing what he does week in and week out just by himself, because he does, I think most weekends he does shows. If there's one around to go to, he does. I mean, he's doing Jacksonville the week before Daytona. Like what a madman.
That's crazy. I need like 2. I'm like the smallest you can get in a show, and I need like 2 weeks just to like mentally prepare for a show.
I learned. I tell people, if you want to learn, like get to work, offer to work for somebody. I mean, that's as much why I said I'll go do Tinley with you. I just want to learn. But like you say, man, I was blown away by the work. Like it looks fun and glamour. Oh, I'm selling snakes for a living. This is great. Yeah, that's great until you got to put 8 boxes of snakes display cases that I'm not a big dude. I probably go 140 pounds, man. Those cases are like 60, 80 pounds each, getting them out into the van and all of that. So it was a cool experience. What's up, Grow Tent? How you doing tonight, man? We did a show together. I don't want to get sidetracked. Thanks for being here, and it'll be cool to catch up soon. I got to see what you got going on. I'll put the name of your ball python channel. I got it on here. Where was it? No, I'm caught off guard. When did we do those? Spartan Pythons. That's it. Check out Spartan Pythons, and then Welcome to the Grow Tent is his other channel, which is like 50,000 followers. If you're into growing things in tents, check it out. He knows what he's doing. Kevin Smith does his intro on his video. Every video, man, unreal.
Oh, it's dope. That's a cool guy. Check him out.
It's real cool. When we did that show, the whole idea was, what can ball python and reptile keeping learn from the plant industry? If you think about that 20 years ago, I got to watch it for advertising. YouTube will flag me, so careful on that. But if you think about the persona and the mystique of, or how that was perceived 20 years ago to now, legalization, recreational, medical, everything. To me, I feel like that's what reptiles have to do is become that normalized to where we don't have to be just dudes in a garage with a YouTube video, So, and it's happening. I mean, Daytona is a huge example of that. This will be, those of y'all that don't know, this will literally be the largest Daytona show ever, because they just added, I don't know how many tens of thousands square feet. They bought another room, and I think it was already branded as the largest show in the world before they added this stuff. It was a big addition this year, huh?
Yeah, they got a whole nother room, and now it's going to be, I mean, I'm like table 700 and something, I think, and it's like 900 and something tables total, and they're packed. They sold out every single table in that second room.
Unreal, man. Unreal.
Yeah.
I'm excited. There's gonna be a lot to do. Hey, we were talking last week. We hit it off on some, what we found we had in common along with ball pythons. We both kind of got this entrepreneurial gene in us, I feel like, is a way to put it. And one of the things we were talking about was money, and we ended up talking off camera, or off of the show as well. But some of the things we talked about were money and investment and kind of people's priorities and how things go. Talk some on what you feel like about if people want to build, I mean, we could do the whole show. We could do 5 shows on just this topic, but on building, let's just say a ball python business, how much should they be keeping, or how much should they be reinvesting in the business? But then also talk about the context. Is it a side hustle? Is it your only job? Is it how you're paying the bills? I mean, that's what gets left out. I hear so many people go, oh, you got to reinvest everything. Well, if you got to eat, you're going to have to make some serious decisions there, you know? So talk through some of that. I think you had a really, really good perspective. Not only a good perspective, you have a professional background. Series 7, did I remember right? Certification?
Yeah. Yes. I got Series 6. The 7 is the one that I'm looking to get maybe at some point, because that's for stocks.
Yeah.
But the Series 6 is more, basically it teaches a little bit about stocks, but it's mostly to be able to deal in mutual funds, like be able to help somebody choose, what kind of fund they want to invest in, whether it's like a bond fund or fully stocks, or more of a high risk or low risk type of investment, and kind of set somebody up like that, and then change it as they get older into something a little bit less risky.
Yeah. So my point would be, your input, we're not just two bros talking about how we think we're going to get rich. Like, you're a financial professional that's gone through the training and worked in the industry of financial advising. So back to the building the business part of it. What's your kind of thoughts on that? And like say, talk about the different contexts of where people might find themselves.
I honestly think that you could even compare building a ball python collection almost like to building up like your 401k at work. So a lot of people say that they want to buy, let's say, like, just start off with maybe 10 or 15 cheaper, lower end animals. What you're doing is you're buying those stocks that maybe aren't as sought after as the ones that are going to maybe have more of a higher ceiling or pay a good dividend. So what a lot of people like I would say the people that are looking for dividends and are looking for a little bit more growth are going to buy, blue chip stocks, and they're going to buy stuff that pays dividends. Like, I think GE, at least years ago, GE was, I think, one of the longest standing companies of always paying a dividend every year. So people liked investing in GE because
GE, AT&T, they've been around forever. Yeah.
All those companies have been around a long time. Walmart, Microsoft. So they're companies that are going to go up and down in value. And when you're in a mutual fund, you have a fund manager who's buying and selling these stocks. And sometimes it's not that they're buying Walmart and in 15 years they're selling it. They're buying and selling that stock, maybe not daily, but very consistently, like maybe even on a weekly, monthly basis. They're buying at 40, selling at 50, buying again at 42, selling at 48. So they're making money on those small margins, and the stock could end up being worth the same amount of money 20 years later, but it was bought and sold 150, 200 times, and that's where you made your money. Is in the ups and downs. Yeah. So someone could say, well, I'm going to build the ball python collection. What do you invest in? Well, you want to invest in your blue chip stuff, like female recessives, like double het. It depends on where you're at, like double het females, triple het females, stuff like that. Animals that you can grow up, and that then in the future be able to buy those stud males and breed to them. Just like in mutual fund investing, how you make money there is that you're putting in a little bit of money every month into, let's say, your 401k. So you're buying different stocks at different prices. It's called dollar cost averaging. So it's hard to predict when the lowest price is going to be on something. So mathematically, it makes more sense to, instead of trying to guess, hey, when's the price on Microsoft going to be its lowest this year? Well, instead of spending $1,200 at once, spread out that $1,200 and $100 a month, and you're going to buy it maybe at 52, at 57, at 55. Yeah. But over the average, your price is more than likely going to be on the lower end. Yep. So it's something that they teach people.
18th of every month, I put X amount of dollars in. Every year, my wife and I talk about, here's what we're going to invest this year. Divide that number by 12. I don't care if it's the best day the market's ever had or the worst day the market's ever had. The 18th is when I press click and I press buy on the funds. Yeah. Now, I don't deal in independent stocks which is where the analogy is going to break down when it comes to ball pythons a little bit. I only deal in mutual funds or index funds. But as far as that sort of investments go, I like property as well. But yeah, that dollar cost averaging, because people have been trying it forever. Even the best fund managers over time don't beat just a computer algorithm against the market. I mean, the market's you're going to follow the market is what's going to end up happening in most cases. So what about, so you were talking about investing in like the blue chips. Would those be like clowns, pieds? What others would you put in that? You know, the safety, you might not get bloody rich on it, but you probably never go poor selling those animals either, right?
Exactly. Like right now, you could probably get DG falls in there.
Good call.
Yeah, stuff like animals like that. Then there's also like like the puzzle, the sunset, which are still very high end recessives. Even though a lot of people still say they don't want to work with them, you know, they're still very high valued. The reason they're high valued is because people are still paying good money for them, and they're up there. But they're the type of stock where if you're putting in what I learned when I got my Series 6 through the company I got it through was that what you want to do is you want to accumulate a large amount of shares. You don't want to just buy one share of Bitcoin for 50,000. You want to be able to buy, 50,000 shares of Bitcoin for $1, even if it's a new like a new company, because it's a lot easier for that $1 to double to $2 than it is for 50,000 to go to 100,000.
Right.
Your gains are still the same. So that's why a lot of people made a lot of money when some of these like Dogecoin and stuff like that was really low.
Yeah,
because it was like a fraction of a penny.
You buy 10,000 of them for a couple bucks, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it only had to go up another fraction of a penny, and you could triple.
But in fairness, most things that people buy for fractions of a penny are just like a fart in the wind, man. They're gone. You ain't gonna see it
exactly.
back. So you hear about the Dodge coins or whatever, but you don't hear about the 99 others that just went away.
It's true. Yeah, they just disappear. Then it's like, hey, well, it was supposed to reach 60 cents. It's like, yeah, but it got stuck at 30 cents because something else came up. It's just that's why I don't like those type of hype investments. Or just
the pump and dump, I call them, man. Yeah, you got to watch that. So on that was interesting that you threw like Sunset and Puzzle into the blue chip part. You think the future is going to involve those heavily, huh?
I think so. I think they just need, like, Sunset just needs to have maybe like a DG Sunset made, so that you could really see what the potential is, and then the whole goal is going to be, all right, DG Sunset Clown or DG Sunset Pie. Then now Sunset, maybe by itself, it's not extremely sought after, but as a double or triple recessive combo, it will be. Yeah. Especially if it's like a nice red or very bright orange. I think it's going to be red with DG. It might be like a really nice red.
I think that's going to be found. I don't know if it'll be with DG or it'll take some other things. I think Sunset's got the most likelihood of finding that red color. Whether it'll stay red or not, that's the other magic. That might take DG to get it to stay. So let's talk about a couple scenarios. Somebody just starting out, total hobby, and they get a nice snake that they can sell, and they get a few $100 or 500 or 1,000 for it, and go party with that money, go pocket it, go reinvest it. What do you think from just a total hobby standpoint? And obviously you can't know what their needs are, if they have racks, if they have, I know it's all, we're creating the story ourselves. I get it.
I would honestly tell someone that if they want to grow, their collection, because it's much easier to start spending money once your collection is maybe not fully mature, but at least when your collection, you already have a nice stable of females that you can count on to produce you nice clutches. You have good genetics. You're not just breeding, because a lot of people have a lot of big females, but there are a lot of very basic females that you're going to wholesale almost everything that's produced there. You might get lucky and make like a Blue-Eyed Lucy and sell it for like $400, but a lot of the stuff is going to be, $50, $25, $100 snakes, and you need a large amount of snakes for that. But if you want to if you want to create maybe 40 or 50 breeder females, but have a nice solid arsenal, and you're spending that money instead of maybe reinvesting into your collection, then it's going to be very difficult to grow it. So I would say, like personally, I invested a lot of money into my collection before I went out and spent money from my snakes on bills or other things, and then I kept a lot of females and a lot of animals that I could have sold for a good amount of money, but I kept them back because it's almost like reinvesting your dividends from like your mutual fund.
Right.
You can choose to reinvest it, or people will tell you, oh, the stock market's only done 9% over the last 40 years. But if you look at reinvestment of dividends in many funds, that'll give you a nice boost of money, because you're not taking that money as a check, you're reinvesting it. So you can actually grow a lot. And there's a lot of females that maybe you want to cash in on a $2,000 or $3,000 female right now. It feels nice to have it, but that female in 2 years is breeding, and very few people are going to have it and are going to be able to produce the stuff you're going to produce with it, and it could cost you $20,000, $30,000 because you took the immediate satisfaction, the immediate gain now, versus then. So you can, I think you just have to be
detail. Where in that though, when you were making those decisions that you were just talking about building and growing, did you have another job and another income at that point?
Yeah, I basically had my pawn shop, and then after that, I just I was still buying and selling stuff on eBay, so I was still able to not have to sell the animals. I only sold what I couldn't keep back, because, for example, like this year, I've sold 3 visual clown adult proven breeder females, and people have told me, man, you're getting rid of those girls, like those are nice girls to have. I said, I know, I've bred them for a few years. They made me some really crazy holdbacks, but the problem is that I'm already maxed out in space. If I had space for like another adult rack, then I would maybe I'd keep all those big clown girls, but I'm limited on what I can make with them, because I can make some crazy clown clutches, or maybe like some clown head DG stuff, or clown head pied and stuff like that. Or I can just replace some of these big proven breeder females that might be able to do better for somebody else that's where I was a few years ago, and I can keep back like cinnamon gravel clown, Enchi gravel clown females, like blackhead champagne head clowns, yellow belly combo head clown females, and stuff like that. That I feel like where I'm at right now, those females are just going to be better for my future projects. I could still use, let's say, like a big clown female, but I don't have the male firepower. Like if I were to keep those big clown females, I'd want to breed them to, like, let's say, like a DG clown combo male. Well, I only have one, so that male already has the female that he's going to be breeding to, and I don't just want to get those girls and start breeding them. I have like an OD Batman male. Well, he's already sold, but let's say I have a few like head clown males and some visual males, but what I'm going to be creating with those females are going to be animals that I'm going to sell. They're not going to be animals that I'm going to hold back. And
what's the balance of, let's just call it what it is, or I'll call it what I think it is. You could straighten me out. What's the balance between, all right, here's what I'm working on and where I want to go, and here's what's going to pay the bills? Like, is that 50-50? Is it 80-20? I mean, so when you let those breeder clowns go, you made the decision, hey, I'm going to free up that space for where I want to get to, versus just producing money makers. It sounds like, is that accurate?
Yeah, pretty much. The thing is that the way I look at it is I don't want to have any clutches where I'm just making the pairing to intentionally sell every animal from that clutch. I want to be able to have, the thing is, because if you're not going to have a clutch where maybe most of them are going to be holdbacks. Let's say, for example, I breed my pastel DG clown male to my cinnamon clown female. I'm going to keep every cinnamon clown head DG. I may not keep a pastel clown head DG. I may not keep any of the males from that clutch. So I may keep 1 or 2 females and sell the other 5 or 6 animals.
Yeah.
And those animals are gonna produce me income already. And
so
I think that just
income, even on the misses.
So just your byproduct just has to be high end. Your byproduct
it's got to be good enough for somebody else.
Yeah, because a lot of people, I might have a clutch where I'm maybe shooting for long odds, and I might not even hit it, and every animal in that clutch is going to be wholesale because it's going to be gravel / yellow belly 66% het clown, and that's not an animal that I can sell to someone in good faith, because if it ends up being a yellow belly and not a het clown, they just basically got like, a very low end animal, and they probably paid a lot more for that animal because of the possibilities.
So on that,
and it's not a good investment.
On that example, do you charge for the possibilities, or you charge for the base guarantee, or somewhere in between?
Now if it's exactly that, like if it's, let's say for example, like a leopard, gravel / yellow belly, 66% het clown, then I'm definitely not gonna only sell it for like a leopard yellow belly might be a $200 snake. Now I'm not gonna sell it for $200, but a leopard gravel het clown is gonna be more, maybe a couple $1,000, maybe $1,500, maybe. Let's say conservatively probably like a $1,500 snake. And then the leopard yellow belly not het clown is $200. So that, in that case, I would tell someone that I would sell them that animal. Let's say if it's a female, maybe $500. If it's a male, I may honestly just sell it to like a pet store or a wholesaler for like $50.
Yeah,
because I'm not gonna sell it to someone that's gonna breed it and have that illusion of, hey, this is gonna be, because you'll do that to yourself. You'll think that it's a gravel and you'll think that it's a het clown, and it may not be either one. So then, I'll tell someone, look, spend the $1,500 on the guaranteed gravel, guaranteed het clown, and don't waste your money on something else, because you could get lucky, but maybe you don't. And if it's not important for you to make money, then buy the cheaper animal, because it's gonna be fun to try to prove it out. But if you actually want to build something. Yeah, like I did it. I did it with a gravel / yellow belly, my first animal. But when I first did it, I had no intention in the world. I had my pawn shop. I had no intention of making money from snakes. I just wanted to breed them and see if it was cool. It's funny because I always thought, like, who the heck is buying all these? Who's buying all these animals for all this money?
I still say that to myself. I'm still blown away at the market. I gotta watch my mouth. I am blown away at the market space. We're talking about 700 tables in Daytona of snakes, and that's a tiny fraction of the actual inventory in the market. It's mind-boggling. I still am trying to get my head around it.
Yeah, it's crazy. In the beginning, the single gene, like those pinstripes, were like $50,000, the $20,000 for a spider.
Yeah, I've heard the stories of suitcases in Daytona of cash up in the hotel rooms of there's the pinstripe if you want it. You better open up a suitcase of money kind of deal.
Now, that animal's back now, but it's like a DG Exantic clown that animal is like 30-40 grand. I think I'm pretty sure that someone's probably offered Justin 30-40 grand for that animal, but it's one of those animals that I think that unless somebody somebody says, I'll give you 100 grand for it, you might be like, okay, yeah, here, I'm gonna smash it. I'm definitely gonna sell it,
right,
for 100 grand. But at his level, he's probably like 30 or 40 grand isn't gonna change his life. So he's just not gonna do it because it's gonna cost him a lot of time.
Right. Yeah.
But someone like me, you weigh 40 grand in my face for a triple recessive, and it's gonna be hard for me to turn that down,
Yeah, I'm gonna say to myself, well, and I'll tell you again, I always say this: every person's situation is different. If I feel that I have the skills to make more money with that money, even in a different arena, so if the timing's right and I see a good rental unit, 30-40 grand, there's my down payment to get into business to start a revenue stream that'll pay for more snakes, or
exactly
to invest in somebody with a restaurant, although I wouldn't invest in restaurants. Don't do it. But if it's something that I know about or that I know the space very, very well, then I would do it. On a straight snake transaction, yeah, like you say, I don't know, man. You get very far into 5 figures for me, you're gonna have my full attention on a whole lot of things, man.
Yeah, I've sold. Go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, go and finish that. Sorry, I'll come back around. You sold snakes?
Oh, I've sold a couple snakes for good money to people that now I've created a friendship with them that I maybe otherwise wouldn't have created in the hobby, and they bought like a nice, like upwards of like around the $10,000 mark, and those people are now good friends of mine. I mean, I won't say good friends, but I'm like they're involved in the hobby. I speak to them on occasion, and I never spoke to them before we did the transaction. So I feel like sometimes, yeah, you want to hold those animals back, but if you sell someone an animal that they need and you're able to make some money on it, and you make a connection with that person and a friendship in the hobby, and you're able to talk to that person, and that person will then sell you an animal that maybe they wouldn't otherwise sell, but they're going to look out for you. That means a lot. So yeah, the hoarding animals is great too, but sometimes, I mean, sometimes you just have to sell that snake. If someone's offering you some good money for it, you just have to sell the damn snake. And sometimes you don't, but sometimes you have to. It's like, it just depends. Right. Like, do you want to walk away and just be like, no? But do you want to, like for example, I want to build a snake building, whether I get this plot of land next door or I move and get a larger place. I want to build a nice snake building. I'm not going to take a line of credit on my house to do that. I'm going to sell a handful of really nice snakes, and I'm going to build a snake building with that.
I agree. That's an excellent point. This very house that I'm in, I owned this house before I got married, before I met my wife, and over the years she said, why don't we sell it? And I said, she goes, it's worth more now than it's ever been. We should sell it. And I always said to her, I'm not opposed to selling it. What would we do with the money? And we never had an answer at the time. I'm going to just stick it in savings. So I'm going to make it stop producing revenue as a rental unit to stick it in savings and make 0.5% a year. No, I'm going to keep it rented. I mean, but if she had said, well, we need, X amount of money because this amazing opportunity investment came up, maybe I would think about it. And I think that the selling the snake is like that. I agree. Charlie was saying, I wouldn't dare sell a triple recessive male. You make that money back up so quick. Probably so, other than if I knew that there was something amazing right over here that I had more skill in, that had less variable. A house can have problems, but it ain't going to die from a virus that I can't see. Like, I would lose sleep over that. I had some super high investment wine, Petrus, like $4,000 a bottle. Petrus, man, I was having nightmares. I literally was having nightmares that the cork was failing and that little drops of wine drip. I was like, I got to sell these. I'm going crazy. Yeah, I'm going crazy because I've got crazy. 2 bottles, $8,000 tied up in it there, man. I had to get rid of it. I was losing sleep. So every situation is different. I get people's input, but that's a good point you make about, no, I probably keep them, but if I don't have to take a line of credit on the house and risk the house, because you never know what's going to come, could be some horrible, situation. If you don't have that line of credit out and the least amount of debt can be very, very valuable. But I don't think credit card debt is one of those ways that it can be very, very valuable. I'll put it that way. So anyhow, I agree with you on those things. Talk to us about your professional, or I think you said you went to high school with him. Talk to us about this arrangement you got with Kike. He runs your social media.
Yeah, he runs my Instagram. I do the Facebook because it's easier to just I connect it to my personal one, so it's easy to just post on there. But Kike, man, yeah, I went to high school, we graduated together, and that guy's always been, not just with the snakes. When I had my pawn shop, you could always count on Kike to share any kind of post that I would have on sales. Cool. And before the pawn shop, I had a jewelry store. I was married, and I was able to buy the jewelry store from my ex's boss at the time, and he would always share everything. I mean, this guy. I mean, I'm talking about more than. And he's not. And I wouldn't consider him like a best friend or anything. Not somebody that I talk to often or anything. But he would always share all my stuff. He would always be so supportive, and with the snakes too. And I saw he was also like that with a lot of other people in the community, and so a lot of people knew him. And I always knew Kike. It's always been a good-hearted guy, very helpful. So I told him, I said, hey man, like if you wanted to, would you like to? Because I'm not on Instagram very much, and if you want to run my Instagram, I can maybe hook you up with some animals every once in a while.
Right.
That he might use. And I asked him, like right now I'm gonna hook him up with a nice female triple het orange ghost pied clown that's already a year old and about 700-800 grams. So that's a good female that he can breed. And honestly, I don't care how much she's worth because what Kike does to me, for me is almost priceless, man. So he's a good friend, and I want him to do well. And yeah, he basically runs the Instagram, and anything that I post on Facebook, he always posts on Instagram, and he adds, and he does even stuff on his own. He goes to the morph market and takes pictures of the ads that I have for sale, and he really moves and shakes it, man. I just wish he was closer so we could do more YouTube videos and stuff over here. But he looks kind of fun.
One day he just started showing up in my audience and comments, and then next thing I know, he's. I don't even understand Instagram, to be honest with you, fully. I have some understanding of it, but I'm not great at it. Like, somebody mentioned you in their story. I'm like, what's the story thing? And I'm like, wait, what does this guy do in my post? And I'm like, oh, wait, this is cool. He's sharing what I'm sharing. And yeah, Kike's been really great. Those of you in the audience, it was a neat thing. So booking for the show is this never-ending journey. Like I used to have nightmares about wine dripping out of corks. Now it's like, man, here comes another Tuesday. What am I going to do? And so when I reach out to people to book, because I actually, believe it or not, I really try and make sure that I find some interest or intrigue or connection with people rather than just like sign you up for the show. And so I message Alain. And the message I get back is, hey, it's Kike. I'm like, this guy's everywhere. What is going on? How is
it's like, yeah, he's like, oh, it's me, Kike. What the hell?
Yeah, he's like, me, Kike. I'm like, what do you just pop up out of here? Like, are you doing this on my account? What's going on here? And,
right.
So it's kind of funny. He was like, no, I'll get your message to Alain. And then I got Alan's text, I think is how we communicated then. But it was really kind of funny. So I thought that was an interesting relationship. There's a business income philosophy, management philosophy, farm out as much as you can so that you can focus your time on what you do really, really, really well. So if you don't do Instagram well, find somebody who does so you can get to making snakes well, or you can get to going on YouTube well, or making shows well, or, investing in other properties, whatever it is. That's why that all comes back to why I don't breed rats. I can do more with my time, and it's worth spending the money for me to not breed rats. That's just me, though. But I thought that was a cool thing.
I've been around animals my whole life, and we've always raised all kinds of chickens and cows and goats and pigs and all that kind of stuff. And I really want like a nice rodent building. I don't want to clean it every day. I don't want to be in there like being the guy cleaning 6 days a week. But I wouldn't mind doing it a little bit, because I kind of get a little bit of that. Kind of like I get in the zone. I listen to some podcasts and I just clean my rodents. I'm able to look at my females. I'm able to see if anybody has tumors or if any of the babies need to be weaned off. And so I would say I have like maybe 60 bins between ASF and rats, and I enjoy it.
Oh, cool.
But I would like to have like a nice sized rodent building, maybe make an extra income from that, but mainly to have somebody that can work that, make some good money working that I can feed all my animals for free, and not have to clean any more bins, only if I wanted to. Just go in there and kind of just supervise it and have somebody that can run that. And then if I go on vacation, I don't have to worry about the rodents and stuff like that. Like right now, I'm leaving to Puerto Rico for 4 days, and I have to double up on water bottles. I have to add an extra amount of water to my buckets for the automatic water. And you never know. One day,
that's right.
They'll just
little nipple jams. Suddenly they can't get water. Yeah.
And then you're screwed. I mean, thankfully, man, it hasn't happened in a very long time, but it's just my luck. It'll just happen as soon as I leave for the trip.
Yeah, there's actually, this is a good topic for everybody in the audience too, because like you get enough animal, and I'm not a big breeder by any stretch of the imagination. I got about, well, with the hatchlings coming, I'll have about 80, but I've got a little over 50 animals right now, and it's just like you said, you want to go out of town, who's going to feed, who's going to clean, who's going to make sure there's fresh water. And what's cool is that I finally have built a lot of, I think I've said it on the show before, I have more trouble building local in-person relationships. I have an amazing community on YouTube. Nobody that I can call up and be like, hey, I got to go out of town. Can you come keep an eye on my animals, you know? But actually the guy that I get my rats and ASFs from, Tito, he called me last week. He says, Adam, I got to go out of town with my in-laws. And I said, he said, can you help me out? And I said, yeah, I definitely will come over. So I'm going to actually go take care of his rats this week coming up. And then I was like, hey, perfect. And he was like, you could pick this or that. I'm like, no. When I go out of town, I needed to take care of the ball pythons. He was like, oh, that's cool. A total deal. So building those things that's going to be a big leap that if he and I can work that out and make that come to reality, you know?
Yeah. If you can make that happen, that'll be a big help.
Yeah.
I do have a local person that could probably come help me out if I really needed to, but I try to just not bother people if I can avoid it. But when I live back home, I'll just get my old man would come by and take care of him. And trust is a big thing too.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Yeah.
Yeah, trusting people is a big deal. So I've the pawn shop kind of killed a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, I'll trust you. It's, you're not gonna lie. I go, man, I've been sometimes I feel like that place just like jaded me so much from trusting a lot of different people in different scenarios, because it's just
I got some of that from the restaurant, and I can only imagine in pawn shops, but yeah, I get that too. But you're right, it is hard. But I mean, from everything from the biological safety to trusting a person not to outright steal to do they feed the wrong thing? Do they, all of that kind of stuff is it's hard, man. I hear you. But I did this summer, my wife and I took separate vacations so that somebody would always be home with the animals. I'm like, I didn't quit restaurants to go on separate family vacations, man. I'm done with that. I said, next summer we're going together. I got all year to figure out how I'm going to have somebody help me take care of these animals.
That's why I think it's important to have a very small high-end collection, because worst case scenario, I mean, you know how difficult it is for a lot of people that have hundreds of breeder females, and right. I mean, to take a nice, I mean, a lot of these guys can't take 2 weeks and just go to Europe for like 2 weeks. And maybe they could go for like a week, or maybe they could go maybe every once in a while, or maybe like maybe, like someone like Justin. Justin has a good team, but it took Justin probably a little while to get somebody like Chase, and then I always see her video. What's her name?
I forget her name. I've talked to her on the phone before. I know who you're talking about.
I want to say Heather, but it's not Heather.
That's what I'm looking at. I got a chance to go on tour in October across Canada, man. 15 days, 15 shows from Montreal to Vancouver and back, man.
Wow.
It'll be amazing if I can do it, but I'm not sure. The craziest thing is I got other work stuff figured out. It's the snakes where I'm like, I could still have hatchlings. I could add, that's going to be the kind of a height of a selling season. I don't know if it's going to make sense to do. I think I'm going to do it just because I don't know if I'll ever get the experience again. I want to be able to say I did it, but I got to figure that out.
And how old is your oldest son?
He's 10. So I mean, he does. he cleans 2 days a week, but I still got to go behind him, and I have to remember that he's not an adult because
he's still young. Yeah, he's still little.
Yeah,
if he was like 12 or 13, that'd be a big difference.
Yeah. Last week, I actually had to go back and apologize. I charged into the house. I was like, "You keep this up, I'm not paying you a penny more. I've had enough of this. That is a poor performance right there." My wife's like, "This isn't a chef." I'm like, "Well, it's real money."
You and Gordon Ramsay on the poor kid.
Yeah, I was like, "Man, I've got the tub." I'm like, "Look at this. This is not right here. It's not." And I was like, "Yeah, he's a 10-year-old. Here's your $5. It's good."
It's like, yeah, it's cheap. Yeah, he's at $5 for like 4 hours of work, and you're like, poor kid. It reminds me of my dad. My dad would pay me. I mean, God bless him. My dad taught me a lot of really good values, man.
Yeah.
He actually checked out the last show. He was on there the whole time.
Oh, and, cool.
And he taught me a lot of good values in the beginning. I mean, also because he wasn't making a ton of money, but man, I remember working like a beast all week long for like just a little over $100.
Right.
But then he'd tell me like, "Hey, like you're living here rent free. You're eating like, like a good amount and stuff." So he's like, "I'm not paying you a lot of money," but it was able to teach me a lot. And he also wanted me to learn to work with my head and not so much my hands, because I was going to be, he just didn't want me to have to work as hard as he did to make money, which ultimately, he had me go to school and all this kind of stuff. But my whole thing was just running my own business. So as much as he wanted me to go to school and I tried, it just wasn't for me to just be, working corporate America. I make a really bad employee, and I just do really well on my own, man. And I just had to find, because the financial services was great, but it wasn't for me, and I wasn't ready back then to really take it to the level where I really needed to take it to make a career out of it. And then I even
but that knowledge taught you how to look at money. And I mean, we don't have to dive into it because it's really kind of not even specifically related, but that rule of 72 stuff, like, I don't know, is 9% good or bad? Well, it could be good or bad for different people, but if you know the rule of 72, in 10 years, 9 years, 8 years, your money's going to double. Okay, that brings more context. Is it good for you if your money doubles in 8 years, or you ain't got time? That, suddenly you know how to think about money a little bit more.
Exactly. No, there's a lot of people out there, and I have conversations with all the time, that are so clueless that sometimes I could think, I could lose everything right now and start from zero. As long as I keep my knowledge, I'll be okay, because there's just, I mean, I would feel so lost if I didn't know all the things that I've learned over the years. There was a girl that was on my Facebook page, and I've known her since high school and stuff like that. And I think Kike probably knows who it is. And I had to delete her just a couple months ago because she was doing these posts about getting people to buy life insurance from her. Her being somebody that doesn't even know anything about life insurance. She just got her license a few weeks prior and was trying to sell a bunch of people universal life, whole life policies, and not even knowing how they work, not knowing about Roth IRAs or 401ks or anything like that. So then I was writing in her post some of my opinions about the stuff that she was trying to sell people.
Yeah.
I had maybe at least 15 to 20 people message me throughout this has been maybe like a month ago. Over the last month, they've been writing me in my messenger on Facebook asking me, "Hey, can you teach me more?" Because I was on this girl's page and she knows a lot of people. She's one of these girls that she just dresses very provocatively, and she sells cars at a dealership. So she's good at promoting stuff, but some of the stuff that she promotes isn't very good for people. Right. So then she's out. Sometimes I've had conversations with her where I've told her in the past, I was like, "Hey, if you use your skills for good and you actually did some good stuff for people, you do really well. But I feel like you're just doing a new scam like every few months," and just she's almost like when as soon as somebody speaks up, they're just gone. Yeah. So for some reason, she
eliminate the problem and then keep on with the negative, with the horrible
and just keeps going. So she didn't delete what I wrote on her page, and a lot of people were messaging me, and I've educated 20-something people just about simple things, about your emergency fund, also your life insurance, your long-term investments, how to actually build wealth. and stuff that's like free on YouTube. And then she was charging like
there.
$5,000. She was charging people like $5,000 to learn about all the stuff that you can learn for free on YouTube. With like
You could
YouTube
go
search.
learn it. It's a lot of the I know it's cliche, and here's the thing: like, there's so many things in life. Almost nothing is 100% good or 100% perfect. So I say that because I like about 80% of what's in that Rich Dad Poor Dad book. I like the ideas of knowing how to get money to work for you. When you said instead of working with your hands, you were working with your head. If you're going to raise the rats, well, you don't want to be the one cleaning and grinding. You could hire somebody and make their life better, and your life will be better too. And I love those ideals. And that's that. Now, again, there's things in Rich Dad Poor Dad that I think are just over the top and not. I think they were put in the book to get attention and to get headlines for us to talk about it and advertise. So in that case, maybe he's doing it right. But the 80% of it that I do like is those sorts of things that we're talking about. But you're right about, I mean, like, you gotta be careful where you get the stuff, man. A strong salesman will have you believe in all kinds of things, man. And we're all susceptible to that if we want to hear, if we hear the things that we want to hear. Hell, including buying snakes, man. You can't make sure you know what you want. You go to Daytona, you end up broke, man. If you just walk around slinging cash,
if you go with some money, and the thing is with some of these people is a lot of people buy the hype, so they don't understand what they're buying into. They just see a lot of other people.
Right.
It's like that herd mentality. They see a lot of other people that are doing it, so they do it too. And what they don't understand. What I learned from I listen to Bigger Pockets a lot on YouTube.
Okay,
and those guys have some. I mean, there's one of the guys there, David Green. He's got some of the best analogies, and he says, look, the issue with the herd mentality is that for example, the zebras are going to cross the river where the crocodiles are. The first few that are going to cross over are going to make it fine. And then the other zebras are going to follow them thinking they're going to be fine too. But once the first few make the splash, the gators already know, or the crocodiles already know, hey, there's zebras crossing through here.
Yeah.
So you're going to get caught up in that herd and you're going to get eaten. So the first few that go through are fine. They're usually like the first to market.
Yeah.
The first few people that made bananas made good money. But if you follow the herd and you were that guy that bought in at 25 grand, maybe you sold at 5 grand, and maybe you didn't produce a lot of bananas, or maybe the animal died on you, something happened. So you're following, you have to be one of the first people. You have to be the first in the herd, or just make your own path. Usually that's why making your own path and doing your own thing is just what makes you successful. And investing and other things too. Like I like to listen to a lot of people, and then I like to make my own, formulate my own idea, my own plan of action from the knowledge that I've gained from other people. Because you never know, people can teach you different things. Not everyone that's made a lot of money has done it the way that maybe you're going to do it. Some people have been lucky. Some people have done it illegally. And maybe that's not something that you can imitate. Right. But some people
skill sets and resources though too. I mean, thankfully I get a lot of compliments. Oh, your videos look good and sharp. Well, I spent money on the camera, but it doesn't mean don't do it. You could have charisma and have content without the amazing camera kind of deal. So, but that's just as an analogy. But you talked about that woman that sold stuff maybe. Sounds like this she shouldn't have been, and maybe using assets she shouldn't have been using as well. So there's all different. I almost see it. I mean, food's always a good analogy for me. I see it as ingredients I could use. So here's a bit of knowledge that I can apply to this bit of knowledge that works for me because I got this skill set here, and just your comfort levels. I'm far more comfortable with property than a lot of people are, but it's because I've done it for 14 years now. So I'm comfortable with that. Just like I tell nobody to invest in restaurants. I could probably make money in restaurants, but I don't recommend anybody else try to, So it's the world that we're in. What haven't we covered, Alan? What topics do we need to get to? I got maybe 10 minutes left in me, man.
Let's see.
Same to the audience. What did you guys come for that we've missed? It took us 2 episodes to get through our through the show prep, man. What so tell everybody that's going to be at Daytona what tables are you at, where you're going to be, what's the name of the brand, speaking of brand and all that they're looking for. What do you need to see, or what do they need to come look for to find you?
Basically, they just got to come into the. I'm gonna be in the second room. I actually got to see what table it is, but since I don't have internet now, I can't look it up here on my desktop, and I can't do it on the phone now. But it's I believe it's table. I think it's like 790. It's on the right-hand side at the end of the first row. And what I'm gonna have my black display with my gold Cobra, and I got like a 6-foot cushion mat. So if anybody needs to rest their feet, they can walk up to the front of the table and just kind of stand on it. It's like a 3/4 inch
Nice.
phone.
Yeah.
Man, I try to get my logos and stuff like that vinyled on there, but then my vinyl guy said that they wouldn't stick. So I'm gonna have to do it different. Yeah, but they were really. It's a nice big black mat, and if they would have done it the way that I was looking to do it, it would have came out really cool. But it wasn't able to be done.
Next year, you gotta bring it to market then.
Yeah, it might be something else that I might bring to market. I'm gonna bring a little cooler with some drinks. So come by, we can have a shot. I want to bring some drinks with me. Yeah, I'm gonna sneak it in. I think everybody's drinking at the tables there anyway. So. I don't think it's much of sneaking in. Everybody's just having a good time. It's not like
I need to find those drunk vendors, man. That's where I need to make the good deals right there.
Yeah, no, just go by, just give somebody like a little coolie and be like, hey man, there's a Stella in here for you. It's got to count for like at least $100 off.
That's right. That's the deal right there, man.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I want to see. There's a few animals I'm looking to pick up, but man, like the animals that I want, man, they're like I want like an acid DG or something like that, and it's just it's gonna be crazy. If someone actually has one, it's gonna be like crazy expensive. But
yeah, just seeing what's there. I remember I just walked around and filmed, and I wasn't great at it last year. I'll be a whole lot better this year. All right. Well, I'll be there. Alain will be there. Not everybody. Lots of people will be there. If you can make Daytona, come hang out. If you're like, I'm not going to know anybody, I won't know anything to buy, I don't have any money, screw it. Come hang out. Like we'll go check out the scene together. If you're going to be there at, I think it's the Hilton, the main hotel that's tied to the show. I'll be there. I would bet Alain and I'll have a couple beverages, Stella's or otherwise. And we'll have it, and I know there'll be a bunch of us hanging out, so we'll all have a good time. I'm looking forward to it. Alain, it's been a fun 2 weeks, man. Thank you for doing this. The first ever to do 2 consecutive shows for me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I hope that that everybody that was in the chat had a good time, and I can't even see anything from. I'm on my phone today, so I can't see the chat, and I can't see.
No, it's been real good. We got above 60 for a little while on there, and we've been hovering right around the mid 50s all night, which is
nice, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I take it for granted. I turn it just into a number, but I forget what it would be like to just be talking, like to be a panel in front of 55 people live in front of us. It would be an amazing thing. So I have to make sure I don't take that stuff for granted. So
and the thing is that when you look at the amount of subscribers you have and the amount of people that show up for your live, there are people out there that have more subscribers and even less people in their lives. So percentage wise, you're doing like really great, man, because you have a huge percentage of your subscribers that catch your lives consistently. The other day I was watching a podcast. I think he had like maybe 5,000 to 6,000 subscribers, and the guest was pretty good. I mean, it was around the range that I'm at, and I'm pretty much nobody. So looking at yours, I'm like, man, if just doing the math, if you were like at 5,000 subscribers and the percentages were the same, that would be a few hundred people watching at once.
Right. Yeah.
And that's significant. That's
Well, thank you for bringing that out. And I wrestle with it because I'm not good at man, we got thunder all around. I don't know if y'all can hear it. It's great. I stopped about 5 minutes ago. I was like, well, somebody attacking my house. It's thunder.
Right.
But I wrestle with it because I'm not good at all the shout outs and, you know, who's here and this and that. But I really strive to make sure the content stays on point and that we get down to business. And I've always wanted, like, speaking of books, another one that I really like is called Raving Fans. I've always wanted highly engaged people that I could connect with as much as you can connect through a video that I can connect with versus I'll give this away if you click this. And I'm not saying not to. I know everybody does it and it's a proven method and it works. And there's people that have left my subscriber numbers in the dust. But I love the community that's here for just what you're talking about. And I know a ton of people I didn't even get to say hello to. Like Shannon and I talk fairly often. And just from the relationship from the show, great opportunities, I hope for both of us, certainly for me. But, you know, he had seen the show and he was like, Adam, where can I get an incubator? And I was like, matter of fact, you need to drive to my front door. I got one for you, man. Like his eggs were in an incubator that night, you know? So, and that's not me tooting my horn. That's just saying good relationships come with things. He's talked great business opportunities with me. So I love it, but you're exactly right. It's a long way of me saying I love this audience. I love how dedicated they are. And you're right. I know most of them and most of them come week to week. And it is why I do make a point when I do see, like, that's why it's so easy for me to pick out like the new folks. I'm like, I got to say hey to them because they're new, because I do know everybody that does come, you know? So anyhow, I hope everybody will come hang out that can make it to Daytona. We'll get all tons of content. I'll share it all. We'll have a good time. Next week, speaking of good times, Lady Tiz Exotics. If you haven't seen Nicole and her reticulated pythons, as well as she's got tegus running around the kitchen. She'll have a ball python out. I mean, we're gonna have a good time talking to her about her animals. Alan, I cannot wait to hang out in person, man. Thank you so much for your time and effort and real dedication jumping on here with me, man. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me, man. Yeah, I can't wait to hang out, man. It'll be fun. We'll have some good times.
All right. Sure. We'll definitely do it. I'm going to hit the music. Everybody, I'll see y'all next week. New video out on Sunday. Hopefully my first visual pied clutch ever. Better be. You're going to see a real meltdown from this dude if there ain't any pieds in there. Have fun, everybody. I'll see y'all soon. And Alan, thank you very much.